2025. Again, I would like to greet all of you and just introduce the members of the committee that are going to deliberate and take decisions in today's meeting. Starting with myself, my name is Nomfundo Maseti. I am the member primarily responsible for piped gas as well as electricity regulation at NERSA, and I'm standing in for Advocate Sithole, who will be joining this meeting later on. She is the chairperson of this committee that is considering these matters today. But in the meeting currently, I have Mr. Muzuvukile Mkhize, who is the member of this committee, the REC, as well as the full-time regulator member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines and a member of various committees at NERSA. Mr. Mkhize, may you please greet so that they can relate to your voice when you speak?
Greetings to you, Chairperson, everyone on call, as well as members of the public that are following us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Mkhize, we have the proposed agenda, and in the agenda, we only have the applications from municipalities for the tariffs that they would like to implement from 1st of July this year until 30th of June 2026. That is the only matter that we have on the agenda, and we have about 19 applications to consider today. Mr. Mkhize, are you happy then to support the agenda as proposed? By show of hands, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support. Members, we then go on then to the declaration of interest. If there are any declarations of interest, I know that there might be some municipalities where management might be residing at those municipalities, but also the members of the energy regulator. But we are here to discharge our fiduciary duties, and we will make sure that we are impartial and scrutinize the applications as part of our due diligence and the way that we are expected. Any declarations for this meeting? By show of hands? It seems there's none. Also from my side, I have nothing to declare. With that, then I would like to inform the members to remember to complete the forms and submit them to the Secretariat. Now we are on item number 5, which is the municipal tariff applications for this year, 1st July 2025 until June 2026. Please introduce the matter.
Chair, thank you again for allowing us to take you through these 19 applications. I will hand over to the man who has been on the platform already, Brian, and his team. Chair, they will take us through, and we will appreciate your indulgence with the members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mathebula. Brian, please go straight to the applications and all of the the approach that has been taken, and then you deal with each municipality. We've already, for the sake of the meeting and also for the benefit of the members, please get to the key aspects as we have guided previously.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, Chairperson, we are bringing to you today, according to the PEC, we've got 19 municipalities. However, Chairperson, as late as yesterday, because we had been guided that we need to confirm with the municipalities whether these numbers that they are bringing to NERSA for attention have been has got the blessing of the council. We have one Sengu, that Chairperson, they were applying for 11.32. When we said, can you confirm that council has approved this? They said council had approved 12.5, and therefore they say they will be changing their application. So we request a withdrawal of that one. And then the other one is David Krupa. Unfortunately, Chairperson, we did finish it, but I think by some, I don't know, it was the wrong version of it was uploaded. So can I request, Chairperson, in the public that we withdraw these two, the 17 that would be left then, Chairperson. And then, Chairperson, all that we have today are based on cost of supply studies. And Chairperson, as we all know, that we have taken a decision that all the tariffs that are going to be considered by the National Energy Regulator will be based on cost of supply studies. If it does not have a compliant cost of supply study, then Chairperson will not be looking at that. So Chairperson, today we've got all that, the 17 that we have that we are presenting, Chair, they've got cost of supply studies. But let me just explain, just in terms of even the future ones that will be coming in subsequent meetings. There are two types of two types of municipalities in terms of the applications. There are those, Chairperson, that had applied last year based on cost of supply study, which are already compliant. And these are 76 municipalities from the previous year. And then there are those that had not presented their tariffs based on cost of supply studies. So, Chair, we did assist, and those municipalities now in this batch, they have actually complied with the cost of supply study. That would be the second batch of the municipalities that are going to be considered. But in this particular batch, it's only those with new cost of supply studies. So the same approach that was used last year will be used, as was guided also by the members, wherein we check for compliance in terms of the 5 steps of the cost of supply study, being the revenue requirement, the cost functionalization, cost classification, cost allocation, and rate design. So, Chairperson, that would be the approach. And Chairperson, we note that there was guidance that we received, having had already sent this batch. You'll realize on the recommendations that we are not talking to the part of the approval and the costs that are used in this submissions will be subjected to an audit. However, the audit is only coming after the 30th of June. So, Chairperson would like to say that in general, there will be one of the recommendations out of the ones that will be presented by the colleagues. The one additional recommendation will be that once the audit has been finalized, the NERSA staff will then subject them to making sure that they are prudent, and whether there is necessity, then a clawback mechanism will be applied. Chairperson, let me see if I'm not missing anything. Yes, Chair, I think we today we are just doing those that have got new cost of supply studies. In other patches that will be coming, will then be looking at those that would have had cost of supply studies in the previous years, and then that will be explained in terms of the approach as we'll be dealing with them at that particular time. Chairperson, I don't know if that is okay. If not, I may, if that is okay, Chairperson, I will want to then start with the first application. If that is okay, Chairperson, if you allow me, can I?
Yes, it is. It is fine. What you have not mentioned, so that it is not something that is, because it cuts across, is the issue of consultation, because it must be on record that all of these municipalities that are before us for a decision today, you follow the due process in terms of publishing the applications and whether or not you received the comments in respect of this one. So that's what you need to inform the members about.
Yeah, Chair. Funny enough, Chairperson, I've got it on my note. Yes, Chairperson, for every tariff application that we are doing today, there was a thorough consultation. And for this particular batch, it was total of 30 days. And I must say, in general, not just for this batch, there's been a lot of comments that we have received from various stakeholders. So, but again, Chairperson, these comments that we are receiving, there are those that will be generic and similar, but there are very specific ones. And as colleagues go, they will actually touch on those comments that have been received from the stakeholders. Chair, with that, I would like to invite Ms. Nthabiseng Mapitsing to start with the AECI application. It's a private distributor, Chairperson. If Nthabiseng, please, if you can take, and please, again, colleagues, the team, please do note what the members have guided, that please give as much information to them as possible and also for the public to understand. Thanks, Chairperson. I will stop here and let Ntabi Singh go. Thanks, Tabi.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members and colleagues. AECI Private Distributor is applying for an average increase of 14.80. The financial and technical performance of the electricity department within the distributor is satisfactory as indicated in the submission, with the surplus and the deficit level that is within our acceptable level. In terms of the cost of supply, Chairperson, the licensee submitted cost of supply study, which was assessed to ascertain if it meets all the requirements of the approved cost of supply framework. And upon verification of the 5 steps approach that has been used by the licensee, this was found to be in alignment with each other, Chairperson. Furthermore, all costs provided by the licensee have been verified against the deformed trial balances and audited statements. These costs were for the financial year 2023-2024, which is the actual to date. Chairperson, the outcome of the study, of the cost of supply study, shows that for the licensee to reach full cost reflectivity of the financial year 25-26, it will be require an average tariff increase of 33.7%. However, to shield or caution its customer from the increasing electricity prices, the licensee, not us, the licensee is proposing an average increase of 14.8 instead of that 33.7% for the 25-26 financial year. With that, Chairperson, the licensee will remain sustainable with the 14.8 tariff increase. In terms of tariff analysis, the licensee is not proposing any structural changes on its tariff schedule. Tariff structure are kept as is and increasing by differential percentage increases to achieve an overall average increase of 14.8. In terms of statutory requirements, the licensee and NERSA have compiled the statutory requirements on public consultation process, and that there were no comments received. Lastly, Chairperson, it's the recommendation which is on page 22. I'll just read them because there was our Mr. Sichotlo mentioned there were one that we left it out. The recommendation read as follows: the energy regulator knows the cost of supply submitted by the licensee. The energy regulator approved the tariff that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the licensee with effect from 1 July. These licenses, their financial year start from 1 July. Also, the licensee submits a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit. All cost information submitted by the licensee will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of the audited financial figure by the regulator. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me open the submission for comments from the members. We only have Mr. Mkhize and Advocate Sithole will join us later. Mr. Mkhize, any comments with respect to AECI?
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks, Mr. Mkhize, for the presentation. I'd just like to understand, especially when we recommendation is that we approve the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by municipality. There's a figure of 33.7 that the cost of supply came up with, which is an outcome of that process or output. And then there is a figure of 14.8, which is now what is recommended. What does this actually mean? Just want to get clarification. What is the logical or scientific analysis that says 14.8 is the number as opposed to 12.8, as opposed to 15.8 or whatever number? That is just what I would like to understand. And also to know, does it mean that this municipality will then be on a path to move towards the 33.7% ultimately? Or what does it mean? I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. May you please provide any the responses to that question, please? And you must do so because you're starting from what revenue is required here. So, and then you start getting into issues of cost and all of that. Can you please respond? Please respond so that you don't waste the time of the members.
Sorry, ma'am. I was going to that business as usual. Thank you, Chairperson. If you look at the page 20 of the 366, you can see that the business as usual allowable revenue is currently sitting at 133 million. And the cost of supply, it says 180 basic charge, and the other component of the tariff, such as basic charge and also what do you call it, rent per kVA, demand charges. And we did inform the private distributor to say this licensee is not recovering all its cost in this particular year as per the cost of supply. However, the licensee mentioned that because of they even noted that due to this rationalization, they will relook at this restructuring of this cost of or this tariff, because they finalized their cost of supply late this year. However, the differences or the phasing in or restructuring, they will relook at it in 2026-27 period. So it means going forward, we'll see that 33% changing due to restructuring of the tariff, because their tariff is not realizing that costs. So they're just only charging their customer basic charge, which lead to such high increase of that 33. But when they're going to change to cost reflectivity, ensuring that their customer has basic charge, energy, and all that, we'll see that the overall 33% decreasing with time. I will leave it there, Chairperson.
Anything to supplement, Mr. Sechotlo?
Actually, I think what Mr. Mkhize was asking also is that I mean, if it's 33%, that is the outcome, and then you give them 14%. The question, from my understanding, was that are you ultimately then going to get to that result of the cost of supply study? The general answer, which is also applicable to this one, is that ultimately we have to get to the result of the cost of supply study. The difference between all the other municipalities will be by what percentage is that difference. If you look at this one, the difference is more than double. It's about 16%. So that the path will be longer possibly than when maybe the cost of supply study is 18 and then they phase it in at 15. Then the path would probably be a year or two. So ultimately the intention is to get to the results of the cost of supply study. Yeah. But you must look at the quantum of the difference, Chairperson.
Okay. I think there is some misalignment here in your explanation, so I don't want, because Ntabi is saying Ms. Mapitsing is working closely with this municipality, and she responded, even though she responded to the question to indicate how this 33%, and I would want to agree with that because there's a need to restructure appropriately and the cost allocation and functionalization so that this 33% is very high for a cost to sit at 33%. And she is indicating because of the things that needs to be done, even this 33% is likely to come down from this 33%. So we can't do the other thing from our side to say that we will be pushing to have the tariffs to cover the 33% when in fact, and this is a principle, first of all, we haven't gotten into the stage where, hence we talk about the audits, we haven't gotten into the stage where the cost drivers have been thoroughly verified here. It's a different story to say that in the way that you have done it for the framework, yes, the general framework, this is what you have done. It is one thing to say, now let's look at you, ACI. Now, what are your costs that are that in terms of the cost drivers for your business? Now, are you going to tell us that they're sitting at 33%? And therefore, is that efficient? And that's when we are supposed to point out certain things and issues of duplication, inaccurate cost or indirect costs that get put into this. We haven't gotten into that point. It's a different thing altogether. So, and also there is this restructuring that is supposed to be done. That is the one that is also going to make us see what cost may have that were not supposed to be included here to get to this high percentage of 33.7%. So that is why even right now, and this might be true because this municipality is also generating a surplus. That is generating a surplus. So to what level do we really expect, even at 14%, even last year at 12%? So if now we are taking it to 33%, how much surplus are they going to generate and derive from the sales of electricity? So I think that we just need to, the responses that must be aligned, but Mr. Mkhize, it is what it is now. So the part that we're talking about, just in terms of the framework, is the fact that they determine the revenue, then they go and do the other things in terms of identification of the cost allocation up until you get to the rate design. That's one thing. There were other things that we are saying. We still need time to check prudency, to check issues of duplication, to check issues of whether or not actually these costs are supposed to be here. And we can't have a situation where, if you can look at these municipalities, what they've done, they've in the previous last year. So some of these costs are changing, and some of them they still need to restructure them because some of these costs they've done them in haste. And also us as NERSA, we still need to check whether we must compensate for some of the costs. It might well be that they are overstated. It might be well be that there's double dipping and all of those things. So that's a separate exercise altogether. Mr. Mkhize?
Thanks, Chairperson. I note the two responses and appreciate them. I note also that hypothetically, we should be, was saying that this municipality, this private distributor should be moving towards what is cost reflective as indicated by the cost of supply. And that we are, I just want to understand, but I'm saying I'm sitting on this thing for some time, Chairperson, because it will then also have implications to the rest of the applications, in the sense that hypothetically that 33.7% is what the tariffs need to gravitate towards. Now we are saying that this cost of supply study has been done. There's been a level of assessment thereof in terms of what is in the framework. But there is further work that needs to be done going forward to ensure that there's prudency, there is the efficiencies factored in, and you try to look at all of that to ensure that people are compensated for costs that are reasonable, efficient, and prudently incurred. That is one. two, my understanding is that there is a reason that one moves towards a particular figure at 14.8. As I said, that particular figure, there should be some kind of a link to the between the figure and what is found in the cost of supply going forward. And the justification of that particular figure is not seen as if one just gets a cost of supply and then whatever you request that is lower than that, we're good with it. That is something that I think we will have to then do further work. I mean, beyond this process. And I think if that is the understanding, then maybe one can sit and say, right, entertains this process going forward. But if my understanding is not that, or if we just there's a number being thumbs up and we take it, then I can't support that. So I just want to get clarity, feedback along those lines. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. There's one thing here, and that one thing is that the municipality still has something that is lingering on it. It says that it still needs to do some restructuring. So the 33% outcome that it has come up with, that the applicant itself is still, it says that it still needs to do some restructuring. So that's one thing that the regulator must flag. And then the municipality, knowing that it needs to do something, some more work on its own, as stated here by Ms. Mapitsi, then the municipality, not NERSA, the municipality on its own, it did not see it fit and appropriate to apply to apply for 33%. So we cannot, as NERSA, now say here what we are going to do is to gravitate toward the 33% because we still have not done work together with the municipality, sit down and say to the municipality, not on the basis of the framework, the general principles of the framework, what you do, but in the identification of the actual cost, whether these are really costs that are derived from the supply of electricity for the operation of the distribution facility. Are these really the costs that we can say are direct costs from the operations? Are we in a position to say these costs are not overstated? I don't know if there's somebody who can say that here. Can we even say that these costs are not duplicated? So we are saying that then those things, as the municipality is saying that it needs another opportunity to restructure this cost because of what it has stated. And secondly, we are saying from our side, we must subject these costs to audits, independent audits, so that we can make sure that the cost drivers were accurately identified. There is no double dipping. These costs are accurate. No indirect cost where we actually put 75% where we could have put 25%. So those kind of things, if one does the cost of supply. So that is an exercise that must be done differently from what the team has done. And I want to close this one because I think we've taken now almost, we're going to get into an hour just on one municipality. Now, what is before us for the decision? Nothing else. The municipality is asking for 14%. And as it asks for 14%, the municipality is not pleading a case that says that we are experiencing a revenue shortfall so that the regulator must worry. The municipality says that give us 14%. Last year you gave us 12%. This year give us 14%. We are fine with that. We've got some further work to do, irrespective of the outcome of the study. What is before us today, it's whether the 14% we believe that it's appropriate, especially if we are not seeing deficit that will worry us. And the evidence that is before us is that there is no deficit that is going to worry us, even when we extracted information from the DFORMs. Yes, the information is lagging behind by a year or two. So the case that is before us is that if the municipality is generating sufficient money or revenue, and they're making a surplus, and they're asking that they should not get to the 33%, we can't say something else when we don't have the facts and say that let's gravitate to 33% when the municipality does not want to gravitate to 33%. It wants to actually come down. Mr. Mkhize, the parting shots on this one?
Yeah, I just want to, for the record, to be clear here. I'm not saying that the municipality is gravitating towards 33.7%. I said hypothetically, In other words, what one gets in a cost of supply study, the tariff that comes out of that, if that tariff has been thoroughly assessed in terms of the framework and all these other matters are considered, then that would imply that, right? That is one. Two, there's work that has been done to assess. There are other matters that are outside of the current scope in terms of matters like restructuring, optimizing the costs that are involved. So it informs us going forward. What I'm trying to say here is that you're dealing with figures here. When you move from one figure to the other, there must be proper justification and an understanding of the link between what is in the cost of supply and what is in the tariff applied for and what is in the tariff that we approve. And I think that is the work that is for polishing. I don't want to take a headline stance on it. I want us to be cognizant of that and include that in as part of the actions going forward outside of this process, but as a way of refinement of this process. Because what I'm saying now impacts on all these applications as a matter of principle. And if there's some way that I misunderstand it, I would like to be clarified. Because for me, yes, we're taking time on it, but for me, this is like what opens the gates for us to then look at these applications. Hence my being pedantic and coming back to discuss this, to deliberate on this matter. So I hope the team is understood, and I hope Madam Mapitseng understands what I'm trying to say, as well as Mr. Sichotlo. And that is why I thought they would also reflect on it, so that I've got the comfort going forward on this thing. Because even just to end, Chair, even if we're raising questions on the cost of supply tariff percentage increases, it's not a question of doubting what the work that has gone into this, but that there are other issues that are not necessarily strictly in the process of the cost of supply study as envisaged in the framework. Let me stop there, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Ms. Mapitseng, do you have any other answer to provide here?
Oh, maybe just to put comfort to Mr. Mkhize, ma'am, is that on this application, I did a thorough analysis, Chairperson, and what transpired, to be honest, is that there's a lot of costs from that the municipality is incurred from Eskom. Those, as I mentioned, there's network costs, there's demand costs that this licensee is not imposing to its customer. It only imposes that energy. That's why we see such a higher increase, that 33%. But in terms of even additional costs, such as salaries, and this licensee only have few costs that we did a thorough assessment on, especially the base year, which is 23-24. The only financial year which is going to be subjected to audit, it will be that 24-25 going forward.
Okay, so we will wait for it, because we've stated in the decision that is sought that there must be audits that must be done, as we have indicated, because right at the beginning it was stated that for 24-25, that financial year will only come to an end on the 30th of June 2025. We are not there yet, so the audits will be done, and if then we find that there's over recovery or under recovery, it will be identified at that point, and the report will come to, I think it will come to the electricity subcommittee for consideration, and therefore this committee will also be duly informed for the next cycle of the tariffs. And then, just for the record, this municipality the application that is before NERSA is for 14.80%. That's what this municipality is asking NERSA to consider. And this municipality, as it asks for that increase, in terms of financial performance, the municipality is stable. The municipality only had about, I think it's about 2.2%. What is it? Is it the surplus or the deficit that the municipality has? The surplus. So the municipality is doing very well, is earning a surplus, and the municipality in terms of the energy losses, they are substantially low, although for 2023, it's showing that there's some, it's starting to deteriorate, but it is still below 5% in terms of the energy losses. So if you look at the overall performance of this municipality is quite good. And even the 33%, it would have been over recovery. Hence, I'm talking about what the team has not done, because if you're looking at 14%, already it has a surplus, and then how much revenue and the surplus this municipality is going to generate out of electricity sales, even after the, what you call, the restructuring. So those are the things that the municipality has put before NERSA to say, looking at the financial aspects and whether the 14.8% will prejudice the municipality in terms of the revenue, and the facts that are before us today do not suggest that it will prejudice the municipality. With that, members, before I hand over to the CEO, we are on the recommendations for this municipality that the tariffs of 14.8% be approved for the AECI. By show of hands, members, if you are in support of that application. Advocate Sithole, are you happy to approve or not? We can just not approve if we don't approve. Yes, Advocate Sithole?
With the discussion that I had at the tail end of this particular application of AECI, I'm happy with what you were trying to summarize, Chairperson, and I support the approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I also support. At this point, Advocate Sithole, I would like to then hand over to you. Apologies for the the delay, taking so much time on this application, on this matter, this one matter. I think we were only on one application, which is the AECI application. So we are going to go to the second one. The total was 19, just to fill you in. 2 were withdrawn. So we have the total of 17 to consider today. And 1 is the AECI, which we have just approved. I would like to hand over to you at this point to take over and chair the meeting. Thank you. It's Bito. The next one is Bito Municipality. We've got Kulani Matumbo.
Thank you, Ms. Mosetti. I see that the Choker's hand is up, but I don't know whether he wants to guide before I take over. Dr. Choker.
Yes, Madam Chairperson. I wanted to say, because Ms. Mosetti has just started, maybe for continuity, if there are no other issues, she continues, but you can also take over. But I was just thinking that in terms of the smooth process. Thanks, Chairperson.
Okay, I am comfortable with that. I hope Ms. Mosetti is, because I thought probably there may be other issues that were discussed earlier on that are principal issues that needs to be considered throughout the applications, and I may have missed some of them. As I said, I just joined in when I think there was a discussion between question, or rather responses to Ms. Mkize's questions and clarification provided. So if she doesn't mind, I will appreciate that to hand over to her to proceed with the applications set for this particular. Thank you so much, Ms. Mosetti.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Choker.
And apologies for joining late. I think I did explain to Ms. Mosetti earlier on. Thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Advocate Sithole, and thank you, Mr. Choker, for the guidance. Members, we are now on the second application from Bito Municipality. Kulani Matumbu, please take the cue from the questions asked by the members so that in your analysis, also in your introduction, you can touch on those questions that were also put by the members, including touching on the consultation process. And if there are issues raised, please indicate those issues. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Afternoon, everyone. Bito municipality is situated in the Western Cape, and when we're looking at the financial and technical indicators, it is operating at a surplus of 9% and energy losses of 7.02%. The application was received on the 29th of April and was published on the NERSA website for consultation and comments from stakeholders on the 2nd of May, and we received no comments on the application, Chairperson. When we look at the COS for the municipality, Chair, they are applying for a revenue requirement of 245 million, which is which amounts to 69%, which 69% of it is allocated to Eskom purchases, and 31% of it is allocated to the operating expenditure. The revenue requirement, Chair, was used to functionalize costs into two main functions, which were the transmission and the distribution. And this is shown in Table 5 of page 30 of 366. And the cost align with the revenue requirement. The cost was then classified into energy, demand, and customer-related costs, and they too align with the revenue requirement as shown in Table 6 of page 30, on page 30 of 366. The costs were allocated to customer categories, and it highlighted, Chair, that the commercial customers are the most expensive to serve, followed by street lights, and the cost of supply, Chair, indicated that 12% of the variable cost should increase by 12%, and fixed charges must increase by 75%, as seen on Table 8 on page 32 of 366, in order for the municipality to reach cost reflectivity. Chair, the municipality is proposing a structural change in its tariff by removing IBTs, and it introduced a few tariffs of a few commercial tariffs as well. And for the 2025-2026 financial year, the municipality is proposing an average increase of 9.9, which it indicated that it will be sustainable. And as such, the recommendations are read as follows. We recommend that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply reported by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply are approved as recommended in the tariff analysis for implementation by the municipality, effective 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the energy regulator. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive introduction. I would like to invite members to raise their hands if you have any questions of clarity. Mr. Mkhize, you can come in, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I think on all of these, there should be an inclusion because you audit what is presented before you. But I think there must be optimization of cost that needs to be embarked upon. They citing street lights, for example. Are these street lights, for example, running day and night, and there's no proper maintenance, or just to follow up on those things in terms of the cost that are the cost structures that are involved, and the issue that you've got a situation where they also want to restructure, which of itself means that there should be a revision of the cost of supply study, so to say, to align it with those changes. And therefore, I would say that there is that silent or missing 10.4 to include that aspect, which I think, looking at what has been discussed thus far, would be applicable to almost all of these cost of supply studies that we're looking at. And again, I must say that I would grudgingly support, but again, if the figure that is chosen, it should be clear of the change from one figure to the figure that the municipality is applying for in terms of the justification, and not just a pick and choose number. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Sithole.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thanks to the presenter. Chair, the presenter indicated that the commercial customers of this particular licensee are expensive to serve, and as well as the fact that they have done a structural change by removing the IBTs to introduce other commercial tariffs. So just wanted to check as to whether there was an assessment on the impact of this particular change to the said commercial customers. Will it ease up the issue of serving them being expensive or not? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Can you please provide some responses? I think some of the issues from Mr. Mkhize are ready for enhancement and for the matters going forward. But please also touch on that in terms of showing the linkages, and then respond to the questions from Advocate Sithole.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mkhize's comments are noted, and the analysis sheet will be enhanced. As for the Advocate Sithole's question, the municipality is introducing the commercial tariffs for this current year, which is 25-26. So a customer impact for the commercial, for the introduction of this tariffs can only be done once the changes are implemented, and which we can ask the municipality to provide a report to the energy regulator and submit it by maybe September or October of this year, ma'am. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Advocate Sithole. Mr. Mkhize, are you happy with that? Because I think it's okay, let me check. Mr. Mkhize, any follow-up?
I'm happy with it, with the response. I think for Madam Matumbu's side, if you can just consider that when you're looking at the commercial side of things, include the issues that pertain to the LED. Because if you look at, there could be compromises around the issue of the cost of supply to those commercial ones in view of the overall economic benefit that accrues to the municipality because of the businesses around that. So the issues of IDPs and LEDs are integral in terms of looking at these electricity prices. So when you do the work further in terms of optimization, please consider that. As I said earlier on, one would support what is being put forth, but there's a lot of work that should go on also concerning the issue of the being realistic about the issues of cost reflective tariff. What does cost reflectivity mean? I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Colleagues, in all of this, as we indicated, that issue of cost optimization, it's important, and all of the other matters, because we don't take things at face value. It was one thing for us when and some of these cost of supply studies were submitted very late. So it is one thing to just check if the way that they have structured them, they followed the framework where you start from revenue and you go on to the identification of the cost allocation and all of that. It's one thing, but the drivers, the cost drivers, we have not looked into those. So that's also the part that Mr. Mkhize is touching on. And that is why also from our side, once you have agreed and say these are the cost drivers, they can't keep on changing every now and then, because you need to get to the point where you now have the baseline cost, and they can't just change from time to time. And then it's going to be a very difficult to get to this issue of cost reflection. And it also, some of the cost even last year, even though Brian, you have introduced to say that some of them they've submitted last year, some of the costs were like 80%. 80%. Now, what tool did you use to check and pinpoint to tell whether these are not overstated, rather than to say, well, they've done something and therefore this is the outcome of what they've done? No. So we still need to do work there, and also still need to look at the financial performance, and so that we can see when there is undue over recovery from the tariffs. But thanks for that, colleagues. I think in all of these decisions that are sought, there's a requirement to make sure that there's going to be audits. There's also going to be clawback. Should there be over recovery, or give back if there's going to be under recovery? And there's also going to be a plan to the extent that the team has done its work in terms of applying some thorough due diligence on the cost that have been brought before us, rather than to say, yes, it's 80%, and therefore with the way that we are going to do tariffs, last year you applied for 12% instead of 80%, and therefore we are going to try and get to the 80%. No, it cannot work like that. So members, I'm hoping that this is not going to be repeated. I just wanted to emphasize and also to help the team. Ms. I think members now, the recommendations have been read out, and I've also added those things about the audits that needs to be done, as well as the prudency and the clawback. Are you happy, members, to then approve the increase that is requested by Bito municipality? By show of hands, members, subject to all of these comments. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support.
Supported.
Mr. Mkhize. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize. We now move on, members, to Blue Crane Municipality. Lorraine Leburo, can we always please touch on the consultations and comments received? Thanks.
Chairperson, good afternoon, members and colleagues. Blue Crane Municipality is from the Eastern Cape province, and it is applying for an average increase of 11.6%. And in the analysis sheet is stated as 18%. There was an error there, so it's the applied increase is 11.6. The financial performance of the municipality has declined, as evidenced by an increased deficit level, mainly due to the mismanagement of its expenditure through the costs that are related to finance cost, which is the interest charged on Eskom bulk account. On the other hand, the technical performance shows some signs of improvement, with energy losses that are kept within the acceptable levels. The tariff application went through public consultation, and there were no comments received from the stakeholders. In terms of the cost of supply study, the municipality submitted its cost of supply, which was assessed upon receipt, and then to make sure that it meets the requirements of the approved framework. All the costs that were provided by the municipalities have been verified using the audited financial statements, the D forms, as well as the trial balance. Furthermore, all those costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. And all the steps of the cost of supply, which is your revenue requirement, your cost functionalization, classification, and the rate design, were also assessed for mismatches, misalignments, and they were found to be all aligned. Based on the outcome of the cost of supply study, the results are showing that for the licensee to achieve full cost reflectivity, it will require an average tariff increase of 19%. Some customers categories will be increased more than others to manage the cross subsidies, as some customers are over recovering and others are under recovering. However, when the municipality was designing its tariff, it decided on a differential increases per customer category to achieve an overall increase of 11.6% and a phased-in approach in consideration of customer affordability. The licensee, it must also be noted that the licensee will still remain sustainable with the proposed tariff increase. Finally, in terms of the tariffs, the municipality is not proposing any structural changes to all the to its tariff structure. The recommendations are on page 73, and I'm going to be reading them. The tariffs will be approved as it is recommended that the tariffs be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section of implementation from the 1st of July 2025. The municipality is required to continue to manage its inefficiencies by addressing high expenditure on electricity in an effort to sustain its financial health going forward. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. And lastly, the municipality will have to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its verification. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive introduction. I think it helped in a number of areas and aspects of this application. Members, I would like to invite you for comments, enhancements, or clarification in terms of the tariffs themselves. Thanks. By show of hands, members. I don't see any hands. Are members happy to then approve this tariff as motivated by the applicant? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize.
I think, Chairperson, from my side, the same concerns.
Just hold on, Advocate Sithole. Mr. Mkhize?
I was saying that the same concerns here apply as like for others. And what I've said earlier on, in fact, for all intents and purposes, applicable throughout. And it is with that proviso that I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Sithole?
Chairperson, I do support the application, but I just thought that maybe in some areas, or maybe when the team writes some of the sections in the applications, they must just take a base that, the reader may not have the fuller information. For me, for example, I was interested to know what is the reasons for the reduction in the energy losses, because they've reduced from 23.57 to 11.85, and it could have been expanded. If you look at page 61 to say maybe these are the reasons for the reduction in the energy losses, and maybe out of what one municipality may have done, we can direct the other to probably use that base. But it is not clear. But yeah, as an enhancement, I think maybe if we can also highlight those reasons for the reduction in some of the losses, or in any area that the analysis is being made. If there's a drastic change, they need to explain as to what is the cost. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. In fact, we are appreciating the fact that the losses have come down significantly. It's an improvement because it will also improve their revenue and also to operate efficiently. So if they've done good there, then that's very good. And that's why now, on the basis of this, we're moving away from setting it at 12% as we used to. Because others may actually come down. Like, for instance, with the distributor, AECI is operating at less than 5% energy losses. That's good. Why can't other distributors, such as the municipalities, have that a figure of 4%, 3%, 5%? Why should it be double digit? So, and that is the problem that we're facing with municipalities, the energy losses. And because of sometimes these illegal connections, so they really, affect the revenue of the municipalities. So the reduction here is quite significant, and I think it's something that we must appreciate and ask the municipality to go on and put some more measures to reduce it even further. Ms. Liburu, you have something to add there?
The CEO's comment is noted, Chairperson, but what I wanted to indicate was the municipality indicated that it has been working on improving some of the meters and also the illegal connections in terms of those customers that are connecting illegally. So they have had the plans in place to deal with the bypasses. I'll end here, Chairperson. Thanks.
Thank you very much. If you can assist, then you must, as you handle this matter in line with the comment from the CEO, if you can make sure that that plan is executed by the municipality, so that when we look at the application next year, at least we see further improvement. With that, then I think members have already voted, but I just want to emphasize that aspect since Advocate Sithole raised the issue of the energy losses. Are members still happy with the approval? Advocate Sithole, still happy? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Sithole?
Yes, yes, I am, Chair. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the answer there has been clarified. All right. Let's go to the next application. The next application is going to be presented by Ms. Mavinya.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, members and colleagues. Just to state up front, Chairperson, that the issues raised by members in terms of enhancement have been noted. And Cederberg is based in the Western Cape. Its application is based on a cost of supply. The surplus and the energy losses are at acceptable level as indicated by a surplus of 11.34 and energy losses of 8.09. This means that the overall performance of this municipality is good. NERSA complied with the statutory requirements regarding the public participation process, and no comments were received from stakeholders. The cost of supply that was submitted by the municipality was assessed against the framework, and all the 5 steps, which include the revenue, which start from revenue requirement to rate designs, were assessed, and the cost of supply meets the criteria of each step. The cost provided for in the cost of supply were verified against the applicable deforms and audited statements. The cost of supply suggests a 13.50 increase to achieve cost reflectivity. However, the municipality is applying for a 12.74 increase. The municipality will be sustainable with the 12.74. The difference between the cost of supply study and the tariff application, which is 0.76, will be phased in the next year, in the next financial year. This is done to protect for the municipality to protect its customers from high tariffs. No new tariffs and no new restructuring of tariffs has been proposed by the municipality. We therefore, Chairperson, recommend that the RC notes the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on a cost of supply report are approved as recommended for implementation by the municipality from 1 July 2025. All the costs that have been submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial information by NERSA. The municipality is to submit a report accounting for all these costs that have been noted to allow the regulator to perform its independent verification. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mavinya, for that submission. I think it's quite clear. And here, maybe members can also observe that these disparities, some distributors, they arrive at a cost of supply at 40%, 33%, and more than that, 50%. But you also get others that are operating efficiently, getting into 13%. So that's another angle that maybe the members must also take note of. Hence my initial point in guiding to say that there's a need for us to scrutinize, not on the basis of the framework now, the actual cost. With that, members, any comments, input? Okay, Mr. Mkhize?
Yeah, I just thought of something that is also applicable throughout. I do support, but the other issue is on the issues of consultations. Going forward, the municipalities themselves, they must demonstrate proper consultation, getting to the figures that they put forth. Even most of us will also appreciate that when it comes to customer care centers of municipalities, you can call until the cows come home without necessarily being assisted. So I'm saying that we need to be cognizant of what could be happening on the ground in terms of meaningful engagement of the residents within that particular municipality. So they should demonstrate that when they come with these applications, not necessarily to look at our tail end of dealing with this process. But I'm supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Sithole?
Chairperson, thanks to the presenter. I'm also supportive of this particular application, but what I wanted to emphasize is that in our letter of approval to the licensee, I think Ms. Mabenya highlighted the difference between the calculation based on the cost of supply and the tariff application. There is a 0.76%, I think she said. When we write that particular letter informing the municipality of our approval, we need to emphasize on this particular point because it is a point that you have alluded to earlier on to say that where there is a difference, there may be over or under recovery. We alert the municipalities so that we don't do it at the last point. We need to make it as part of the communication to the licensee to say that this particular difference will have to be clawed back either as an over or under recover. That's all that I wanted to highlight, just person that because we normally tend to draft letters of approval in a standard way. You read one and the next they seem to be the same, but we need to focus on the important elements that relates to each and every licensee. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Sithole. So yes, deal with the specifics and the key things that made us approve, and so that it is clear what are the bases. Thank you very much. With that, members, by show of hands, please, if you are in support of the recommendations that have already been read out. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you very much, members. Let's move on to the next application. Who's next is, can I be assisted? Brian? Brian? Are you still here, Brian?
Sorry, Chairperson, I think I'm the next one, Thabisa, for Chief Albert Luthuli.
Yes, Thabisa Nkopo. Yes, I want the leaders to be awake as well, because I have to scroll from different devices. Please go ahead, Ms. Nkopo.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Chairperson and members, and also colleagues. With regards to Chief Albert Luthuli, the municipality is applying for an average increase of 11.4, which is based on the budget for this financial year. When looking at the financial indicators and the technical indicator, the municipality is not performing well at all, because we're seeing this based on the issue that the energy losses are going up and it's operating at a deficit, which is caused by the exceedance in the NMD. However, the municipality has indicated that they have engaged with the Eskom and they have been trying to upgrade the POD whereby they have been exceeding, and that has been completed. And I guess we'll be seeing the improvement on the penalty in the next financial years. The municipality has also indicated that the energy losses they've put measures in place, but for now we've not seen any improvement because they are going up. But they've also indicated that they are putting split meters that will assist the municipality in curbing its energy losses. We're also hoping to see a difference in the next financial year. And then when looking at the COS that was done by the municipality, it is aligned to the COS framework, and all the steps are aligned, and the data and the cost drivers that were assessed are based on the trial balance. And then when we look at the outcome of the study, it's showing a 40%, a 42.1% increase for cost reflectivity. However, the municipality has proposed an 11.4% for all the tariffs across the board. When doing the rate design, there was an introduction of basic charges, but the municipality has indicated that it will rather maintain the old structure in this financial year, and then maintain the old structure and just increase the tariffs with the proposed increase. And then going forward with further engagement with the communities, they will rather restructure. And Chairperson, when looking at the recommendations on page 111, we are saying that the municipalities' tariffs can be approved based on the COS study, and then the municipality must submit to NERSA a smart energy losses report on a quarterly basis.
Please, on that one, clarify that decision so that members can understand. The municipality applied for a particular increase. So I'm not sure here whether you're asking the members to approve the outcome of the cost of supply studies. Our role here in terms of section 15 is to approve the tariff. That is the exercise we're all about today. So we're not about approving the cost of supply study. There must be a difference. Then all we do is to check what is that cost, but the municipality applies for what it applies for. Can we please be very clear so that the principle is clear and we're not going to do something that we are not empowered to do in terms of section 15, please?
Oh, thank you, Chairperson. The municipality has applied for 11.4%. And then one of the recommendation is that the energy regulator must note the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply study. And then they approve the tariffs as they are based on the cost of supply study. And then the municipality must also submit a smart energy losses report commencing on the 30th of September. And then they need to honor the account, Eskom's account, to avoid further interest paid on the outstanding debt. Furthermore, Chairperson, the municipality will need to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in the trial balance, and so that it can enable the regulator to perform an independent verification and audit. And also the municipality should have should comply with the for now they have complied with the statutory requirements on public consultation process as much as NERSA has done so. As a result, no comments were received from the stakeholders. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Members, any comments from your side? By show of hands. Recommendations have been read out, members. Okay. Is it comments, Mr. Mkhize?
Yes, thanks, and thanks, Madam Kopo, for the presentation. I'm a bit unsure with 9.4, but thanks for expanding in terms of what the municipality needs to do. Maybe we can maybe going forward just compress it because there are many other things that the municipality will have to do, but just to highlight some of them here. With regard to applying for a higher NMD, I think was it 2020 when the issue of NMD was looked at, and I don't think that we came up with a solution in that regard. So I think we should also from our side be doing our part to ensure that the issues that relate to the NMD between Sasol I'm saying Sasol, between Eskom and its customers is actually handled properly. So what we demand will also be something that is practically feasible for these municipalities. Thank you.
You, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Sithole, are you covered? I see your hand is down now. Oh, it was for approval.
Yes, I am,
Okay.
Chairperson, covered.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Mkhize, I think there's a lot of municipalities that came to NERSA complaining about the NMD, and some of them, they are feeling the pinch of the penalties that are imposed. But also there is an issue of some of these municipalities, including this one, that are owing ESCOM. So that also is an issue, but you can see also that this one is also struggling from a revenue point of view. And it is also not performing very well because they need to deal with the energy losses. Look at the level of the energy losses, and that is why that is going to impact the revenue of these municipalities. Because if they were to address the revenue losses, they are going to address the deficit that we are seeing, and therefore improve the revenue of this municipality. So yes, there are some issues of the NMD that the team can look at outside of this. I think the secretary can just touch on that issue of just to record it as raised here, and also the municipalities that are owing ESCOM, and also the issues of across the board of addressing the energy losses and the plans that must be submitted. With that, I think the recommendations have already been read out, including what the municipality is expected to do. With that, members, are you happy then to approve the application by the municipality for the tariff? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, and thank you, Advocate Sithole. We're moving on to the next application. The next application was going to present the next one. The next one is
it was supposed to be, sorry, it was supposed David Krupa, but we withdrew that, so we go to Enoch Mgijima.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Enoch Mgijima.
Chairperson, Enoch Mgijima is situated in the Eastern Cape Province, and it is applying for an average increase of 12.7%. Chairperson, this municipality is not doing well financially and technically, as it is seen in the deficit levels of 14.75% and energy losses of 44%. These are mainly due to the NMD penalties that are charged and the interest charged on the ESCOM debt. It must also be noted that this municipality is among those the top 14 ESCOM defaulters. The deficit and the energy losses, although there seems to be a huge reduction in terms of the deficit, as they are moving from 80% to a 44%, and the energy losses moving from 45% to 50% to 44%. The municipality received a relief funds from National Treasury in the current financial years. So the team, during their analysis, it conducted a simulation to gauge the impact of the revenue and the sustainability of the municipality in terms of the energy losses, if they were to be reduced to a 12%. What the team has found out is that the outcome shows that the municipality would have reduced a deficit to a 7.56%, a surplus, translating into a 155.45 million additional revenue. There is no amount of funding that is going to sort out the inefficiency of this municipality until the municipality, work on their inefficiencies by reducing the energy losses and also managing their expenditure. The tariff application was published and there were no comments that were received from the stakeholders. In terms of the cost of supply, the municipality, the costs were assessed to ascertain if they meet all the requirements of the approved framework, and all the costs provided have been verified against the DFORMs, the trial balance, and the audited financial statement. Furthermore, all the costs that were deemed inefficient were disallowed. The 5 steps of the cost of supply were also verified to check for all those mismatches, and they were found to be aligned. Based on the outcome of the cost of supply, The results shows that the municipality to reach full cost reflectivity, it required an 18.2%. The key takeaway here is that some customers will see more increase than others to manage the cross subsidies in the system. However, the municipality decided to opt for a lesser aggressive approach by proposing a 12.7% increase and also a phased-in approach in consideration of the willingness of customers to pay and affordability issues. So in terms of the tariffs, there are no major structural changes, and the tariffs are kept as is and increased by a differential percentages to achieve an overall average increase of 12.7%. So the recommendations are on page 144, and they read as thus: that the tariffs be approved for implementation on the 1st of July 2025. The municipalities is also required to adhere and continue to monitor the plans that they have executed in reducing the high energy losses and submit a progress report to NERSA on a quarterly basis, commencing from the 30th of September. The municipality is also required to manage its inefficiencies by addressing the high expenditure on the electricity account. All cost information that was submitted by municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and will be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures. The municipality is also required to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Leboro. Members, any questions, comments? By show of hands, members. Mr. Mkhize.
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks, Madam Leboro, for the presentation. I would say that, again, something that cuts across, that justification from a 12.7 to move to 12.7 instead of the 18% that the cost has. We need to be able to say 18.2, 12.74, yes, is the average one, but also from a point of view that if you've got such high losses, which losses could be due also to electricity theft, you could be exacerbating the situation by sticking to this higher number. That justification, as in terms of crafting it into the document, would actually help to when it comes to the number itself, the choice of that particular number. I heard even last time there was issue of saying that it is in the budget, but the question is the justification of lending that number. I think that is an area that I think the team needs to improve on in terms of crafting that particular justification, as well as the fact that I think the auditing and everything will also help for us to demand improvements on something that is smart enough, that is achievable. Because if you've got a municipality where there is a lot of thieving, sometimes it gets linked to the lawlessness that is kind of rearing its ugly head all over the country, which is a matter that will require issues of bylaws as well as cooperation with the law enforcement agencies. So being realistic about what is actually achievable based on the plans that they will put in place. Thank you. I'll stop there. As I said, I do support.
Okay, thank you very much for improvement. Please, that explanation there, if you can kindly put it as Mr. Mkhize suggested, if that issue of improvement and enhancement. Then I would like members to indicate their support for the approval of what the municipality has applied for, and also noting the work that the municipality must do in reducing the energy losses and its operations. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you, members. I also support. Let's move on to the next application, please.
Thank you once again, Chairperson. Great Kai Municipality is also situated in the Eastern Cape Province. The municipality initially applied for a 21% increase, which was published on with the application. However, after further consultation and assessment of the cost of supply, scrutinizing some of the cost drivers for those duplications, the increase was revised to a 12%. So this municipality, the cost of supply was submitted and we assessed it. But I just want to go to, if I can refer members to paragraph 6.61. That's where Mr. Mkhize had an issue where we see that in this cost of supply, the outcome of the cost of supply, the overall cost reflectivity is showing 80.1%, whereas the municipality is asking for a 12%. So as the chairperson has already indicated that some of these cost drivers, they still need to go through the independent verification, go through some clawbacks and some audits as the municipality also, was also indicating some issues of capacity. So instead of the municipality asking for an 80.1%, then all the tariffs will be across the board will be increased by a 12.0% based on all the costs that will be further scrutinized. I think I will stop here. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modo, for being clear and is touching on the main aspects of the application. Mr. Mkhize and Advocate Sithole, any specific comments that will affect the decision?
Uncovered. Still, the previous ones were applied. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
none
thank you
from
very
this
much.
side as well.
Thank you very much. All right, members, with that, then, are you happy to approve the tariff as applied for by the municipalities? And I think the recommendations have been read out already. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Are you happy to support? Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support. Thank you very much, members. We're moving on to Greater Kokstad Municipality.
Awasira Muhuru.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. Greater Kokstad is one of municipality in the KwaZulu-Natal. They've got energy losses of 6.3%, which is acceptable, and also they've got percentage surplus of around 12%, and they submitted a new cost of supply study for 25-26 tariff purposes, and the cost of supply study was in compliance with NERSA COS framework, and the results of the COS study is that in order to achieve cost reflective tariff, they need to be able to is 10.1%, and the municipalities applied for 9.80%, and there was no structural change in tariff, and all the tariffs were applied for 9.80, and we recommend that the tariff being approved as applied for, and out of that 10.1, they just have difference, small difference that they'll be able to factor in during the next financial year. And my recommendation are that the tariff being approved as recommended in the tariff analysis sheet for the implementation on 1st of July 2025, and all costs submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. And lastly, municipality to submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted in the trial balance to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Any comments, members? I just want to remind the team again, please comment on consultations, whether there are concerns raised or comments from customers with regards to the municipalities. That must be something that you touch on, please. With that, members, can you please indicate whether you have a input or comment that will affect the decision that is sought? If none, members, by show of hands, the recommendations have been read out. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you very much. We now move on, members, to the next tariff application. Mr. Sithole.
It's Hantam done by Ms. Phumla Botha, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Phumla, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon to you, to the members and colleagues. Hantam Municipality is based in the Northern Cape, and they are proposing an average tariff increase of 10%. NERSA did comply with the statutory requirements of public consultation on this application and published the application on the NERSA website on the 2nd of May for comments by the 1st of June 2025. No objections were received by the closing date. The financial position of the municipality's electricity sales business is on a downward trend, as indicated by the operating surplus of 0.61%. The reduction in surplus can be attributed to a modest single-digit increase in sales revenue, which was outpaced by a significant rise in the municipality's total expenditure. This imbalance suggests that the expenditure growth is currently outstripping the revenue growth, putting pressure on the municipality's operating margins. To mitigate the risk of financial sustainability, we would advise the licensee to strengthen its financial controls and maintain a consistent implementation of its existing energy loss reduction strategies. In terms of the energy losses, they have improved from 13.7%.
Brian.
My apologies for that. Apologies for that. Please proceed, Ms. Botha.
Okay, so the energy losses have improved as they have dropped from 13% to 11% within acceptable levels. The municipality is encouraged to continue its loss reduction efforts and to improve its revenue collection. And then in terms of cost of supply study, Hantam developed its study and submitted it to NERSA in April 2025. The study was assessed and it can be confirmed that it does comply with NERSA's approved methodology. The study follows the 5 steps model, which entails revenue requirement, cost functionalization, cost classification, allocation, and rate design. When assessed against each other, all the steps aligned as there were no mismatches, and all actual costs have been verified against the deforms and trial balances. The cost of supply outcome supports a 13.8% increase at a tariff rate level, but the municipality proposes an average increase of 10% in an effort to balance its sustainability with affordability of its customers. There are no tariff restructuring required by the municipality. And we make recommendations, Chairperson, in the manner as follows, that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report that is submitted by the municipality, the tariffs as informed by the cost of supply report, but slightly reduced, be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis. All cost information that has been submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. Lastly, the municipality is required to submit a report accounting for all the cost inputs into its cost of supply report that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. I thank you, Chairperson, on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Potter. Members, any comments on this application? By show of hands. If none, members, as I don't see hands, I would like members then to raise their hands to show their support for the application to approve the tariff as applied for. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support. Are you happy to support? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, colleagues. We now move on to the next application. What is the application?
Esekwa Kulani Matumbu, and apologize for not muting, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Matumbo.
Thank you, Chair. Esekwa is a municipality based in the Western Cape province. And when we look at its financial and technical indicators, it is operating at a surplus level of 12.74 and with energy losses of 7.50. And we complied with the requirement of consultation. The application was received on the 30th of April and was published on the NERSA website for comments on the 2nd of May 2025, and no comments were received. Chairperson, when we looked at the COS, the municipality is applying for a revenue requirement of 264, which it used to functionalized to classify and to allocate its cost, and we can confirm that all the steps of the COS framework are aligned. And Chairperson, the energy purchases amount to 78% of the revenue requirement, and operating expenditure amounts to 28%. And the municipality is not proposing any structural changes. And to reach cost reflectivity, the municipality should increase its tariffs by 13.30. However, the municipality wanted to protect its customers from high electricity increases and to also align with ERSA. Thus, it applied for an average increase of 11.32. Chairperson, it is recommended that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply submitted by the municipality, and then that the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended for implementation from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. The municipality should submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the energy regulator to perform its independent verification audit, and the municipality must support an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its COS tariffs on customers, as well as the licensee sustainability and on the local economy by 30 September 2025. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions of clarity that will affect the decision that is sought? Mr. Mkhize?
Thanks to Madam Kulani. I note the recommendation, but please, let's just standardize on this recommendation in terms of what comes through. And we've got a tariff that you applied for. Let us reflect the figure also and not leave it as indicated in 10.2. So please, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Please take note of that improvement. And also, it is correct that standardization is important and consistency. This comes from the same department. Advocate Sithole?
Chairperson, my input does not have any impact on the recommendations made, which I do support, but I was just going to highlight the pattern that I'm picking up, which is on the comments on the published tariff on our side. I do know that the municipality, before submitting to NERSA, they do have to advertise in the area of supply what they are proposing to have as an increase. However, it would seem from our side, all the publication received do not yield any comments, or maybe I'm assuming too much, but even in the previous tariff application, that's what has happened. Maybe in terms of our governance process, we can look at this particular issue and discuss it in a closed session. But I just thought that I should point it out that in most cases, when you look at all these applications, there's been no comments received from what we would have published on our side as NERSA. But there is also no indication on the municipal side as to whether they've had any comments and how they have dealt with it. So, as I said, I do support the application, and I think maybe it's something that we need to discuss in a closed session. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Advocate Sithole. Yes, we can discuss that one through governance just for improvements. However, at the beginning, we did indicate that we received a total of at least so far we've received 41 comments from the members of the public. It may not be with these specific municipalities, but when we also look at the previous years, we never received such number of comments that we have received this year. So it does show that maybe there is something that we have done through the efforts that were taken. So yes, this year there were actually a lot. It's just that if you also look at this batch, yes, there are those ones that have very high losses and the increases, but some in this batch you get single-digit increase. You also get single-digit energy losses. So that tells you that maybe it will get a little, not so much of comments in terms of the applications that we're looking at. There are 3 or 4 so far that had high energy losses. So you will get a lot of the comments in the other ones. And this year, the number is very high. Thanks, Advocate Sithole. Thank you very much. Yes, I can see the comment, Advocate Sithole. With that, and also the issue that Mr. Mkhize has indicated, that please let's make sure that we standardize. Members, are you now happy to support the approval that is sought or recommended by the team in terms of what is applied for? Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Let's go to the next application. Which one is that, Mr. Sithole?
I'm a bit confused. I think it's nice now. Am I right, Pumla? My list has just lost me.
It's Kanaland.
Okay, sorry, go
Yes,
ahead. Sorry.
Yes.
And it's twice with you with nice that you can continue like that.
Thank you. Kanaland are proposing a tariff increase of 11%. And NERSA complied with the statutory requirements of public consultation and published the application on the NERSA website on the 2nd of May for comments by the 1st of June 2025. By the closing date, no comments, no objections were received. The financial performance of the municipality's electricity business is improving, with an operating surplus increasing from 3.9% to 7.8%. This positive trend is mainly attributed to a 28% reduction in the municipality's expenses during the review period, reflecting strength in some operational efficiencies within the electricity division. The energy losses increased slightly from 12.5% to 14.5% from the previous year. While this level is approaching a threshold of unacceptable levels, it remains manageable, Chairperson. The licensee is encouraged, therefore, to take active steps to reduce its losses and to maintain them within acceptable limits. Due to the losses, Chairperson, an in-depth energy loss and revenue impact analysis was conducted to assess the financial implications of varying levels of the losses. The detailed analysis is provided in section 2.3 on page 220 of 366. And table 3 on that page shows us that under the current scenario of actual 14.5% losses, the licensee will realize a net profit of 5.8 million. Whereas if losses were reduced to 12%, the table further tells us that the net profit would increase significantly by 1.6 million rands, thereby boosting the surplus levels to 9.8%. In terms of the cost of supply study, Ghana Land developed and submitted its cost of supply study in May 2025. The study was assessed and it can be confirmed that it is compliant with NERSA's approved methodology. The study follows the 5 steps model, which entails revenue requirement, cost functionalization, classification, allocation, and rate design. When assessed against each other, all these steps have been found to be aligned, and all actual costs have been verified against the deforms and trial balance. When again, Chairperson, I would request that you indulge me on this one, because the outcome of the cost of supply was 9.7% versus the 11% that is requested by the municipality. However, in during the engagements that we had, the municipality maintains that the increase should actually exceed 13%, citing the absence of effective controls and to accurately determine the actual losses. So the balance, to balance this impact of rising electricity costs while maintaining its financial sustainability, the municipality has landed at 11% instead of the 13% that they believe they should be increasing their tariffs by. To this end, the licensee has been requested to provide substantive justification for proposing a higher adjustment of 11% compared to the 9.7%. In their response, the licensee has outlined several key challenges that they are experiencing, both financially and technically in nature. The full details of their submission is provided on page 229 of 366. However, just for clarity and reference, I've highlighted a few that the licensee has stated, including the fact that they mentioned that they are facing a low customer base at 2 of their mini bulk supply points, leading to underutilization of the infrastructure they have there. Whereas operating costs persist regardless of usage. Secondly, the municipality mentioned that they experienced high and unaccounted for distribution losses. How this actually happens is that one of its domestic supply points is equipped with individual transformers instead of those shared transformers, which contributes to significant distribution losses and increased operational costs, as these need to be attended to individually. These technical losses and non-technical losses, for that matter, place a financial strain on the municipality, as the cost of bulk purchases is not being fully recovered through customer sales as a result. Again, the municipality mentioned that they incur additional operational costs through several other service points where electricity is purchased from Eskom to support essential but non-revenue generating services. These include the borehole water supplies and purification plants in the area. Given these challenges, then the licensee is requesting a tariff adjustment of 11%, again, versus the 9.7% suggested by the cost of supply study. They believe that by adjusting their tariffs to by 11%, they would achieve the following. Number one, they would ensure their financial sustainability to be able to continue providing electricity services to the area. They would maintain acceptable service delivery standards as required by MFMA. They would address underlying cost drivers that are not fully accounted for in the current tariff structure. And they would cover operational costs by bridging the gap between revenue generated and the actual expenditure that they have to incur. In view of the submission, Chairperson, we recommend in the manner as follows: that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply study report that is submitted by the municipality and the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report, but slightly adjusted higher compared to 9.7%, be approved for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st of July 2025. This adjustment will assist the municipality in narrowing the gap between revenue generated and operational expenses, thereby contributing to the financial sustainability of its electricity service business. All the cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt of verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. And finally, Chairperson, the municipality is required to submit a report accounting for all costs inputs into the cost of supply report that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its verification audit. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Potter. Members, the submission is before you. If you can just observe two things. From the introduction by Ms. Potter, which is one of the critical factors that must be taken into account. In her presentation, always she touches on the expenditure by the municipality because it touches on issues of operation and also efficiencies, which is why we were talking about that, the other part where we need to do sub-audits to double check the cost, apart from just compliance of the cost of supply studies with the framework, but the other work. And even in this application, she touches on the operational expenses and what are the other things that we need to take into account, and something that doesn't come out when these introductions are being made. And it is a critical point that we need to take into account. Now, on the recommendation that is brought before us, I just want to also just mention one thing for the members in terms of what the law requires us to do in Section 15. It is that the energy regulator will compensate an efficient operator. And that's why the law requires us to consider the cost that the licensee incurs in supplying the electricity. Now, if the cost is 9%, then the municipality is asking for more. And one is still not happy with the operational efficiencies because you must compensate all of the efficiently and prudently incurred cost if the operator is efficient. So we will need also, just before we take a decision, to check if we'll still be within our mandate to approve, given the facts that have been presented before us and given what the law says we must do in this case. So I would like to, members, with your support, to see if this is something that we can be in a position to grant an approval on. But I would like to also just invite you, members, for your comments. I just thought that for the significant decision that is required, the part about what Section 15 requires of us, it becomes important that members be apprised of that before we get to the decision part on this application. But I would like to check if members have other points or other aspects that are linked to this, which will guide in terms of the decision that is sought. By show of hands, members. Mr. Mkhize?
Thanks, Chair, and thanks to Madam Porter for the presentation. The issue that you are alluding to is actually the crux of the approval, because you've got a situation here where the cost of supplies, sub-supply study as output comes out lower than what they would want to do. And with lack of guidance legally and otherwise, becomes a bit difficult. Also, by that, it should actually be what is hardwired here in terms of the assessment. Yes, the challenges are put forth and what they are going to do is being put forth, but as to the justification, why it should then we should be agreeable to that. At the same time, I do accept that you could have a situation where someone is not stringent in terms of cost control and ends up with a high cost of supply, and then it comes with a lower figure, which makes them look good when actually they're not good at all. So these are some of the things that the realities we need to deal with. But I would rather choose to fade on the side of caution, because if the cost of supply is bringing a person at this particular level, I wouldn't then be comfortable to go beyond that. Let me just leave it. I would rather say we're gonna give what the cost of supply study provides. Otherwise, we then just make this thing of doing a cost of supply more of just an indication than actually what we need to base our decisions on. I don't want to throw this into that kind of the cost of supply study exercise into that kind of a phenomenon. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Sithole.
Chairperson, I'm more aligned with what Mr. Mkhize has said, to say that if our analysis of the cost of supply and the tariff application submitted leads us to a tariff or an amount lesser than what is applied for, what is the justification for us to really consider what the Munich is advancing to us? Because what is stated in terms of what their proposal will make them achieve, it may and it may not happen. All those things that I mentioned there may not happen. So what happens when they do not happen, Chairperson? And again, for me, I think it will just make the need for Munich to submit these cost of supply futile if we are going to disregard the analysis that is done and just be persuaded by the challenges that municipalities are faced with. So, Chair, that is just my input. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we also just get guidance also, I think, from the team as well? The team must motivate, must indicate why they motivated for this. But let me check, Mr. Chokwe, as you are supposed to guide the regulator subcommittees, Mr. Chokwe, just on that issue of that I clarified earlier. And remember that this is just for 1 year, and there could be some ring fencing to the extent that the municipality is saying that this is for a particular reason. And it does not mean that it is something must be done each and every year, but to the extent that there is a risk in terms of the revenue that the municipality needs to generate. And also this goes to the point I made earlier, that sometimes these costs, sometimes they'll get to 50%, 33%, 40%. It doesn't mean that they're right. Some of them are overstated. Maybe the one that did it for the municipality got to 9%, yet maybe there are also some inaccuracies there. It could have been at 12%. I just don't understand why a single digit when even from Eskom side, it is a double digit. So one must also give due consideration to that. So some of these cost of supply studies were not done so well in terms of identification of cost and checking the cost drivers properly and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to, it now shows here it's the other way around. It is so low, single digit. And one is asking a question, how can it be single digit when even for the bulk sales, it is quite high. So if Mr. Chokwe, before members can go further, if Mr. Chokwe, can you please just advise members quickly so that we can drift towards getting explanation also from the team in response to the members and then to the decision. Mr. Chokwe?
Thanks, Madam Chairperson. I think as you have said it, your section 15 tariff principle section, Chairperson, it may not allow you to actually go away from enabling an efficient licensee to recover the full cost of the license activity. Therefore, it's possible that maybe the cost of supply study was not done properly, but if that actually forms the basis, it will be very difficult to deviate from that, Chairperson. Let me stop here. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kize, you had your hand up. I don't want to shut you out before we then go to the decision. Mr. Kize.
Thanks, Chairperson. All I'm asking is that we take it that the cost of supply study has followed the framework and the team has assessed them. And as such, we take it that there could be structural issues and other matters of efficiency that need to be looked at. I think we've said that before. But it shouldn't be throwing the whole issue of cost of supply study into some mockery by not necessarily, or maybe for lack of a better word, not necessarily sticking to that. I would still say that if the figure is not what they want, we need to then look further, which means also we need to look at augmenting how then we assess applications in the face of a cost of supply study that has been conducted in terms of the discretion that then we have. But legally and as things stand, I don't find anything that talks to that. We've also got a municipality here with a surplus to say how much, if they implement those projects, is going to impact that. And also there's no detailed study that has been done to factor what they want to do outside of the cost of supply study. So I would not be supportive. If there's anything, the process is still underway to be finalized. Maybe if they want to augment, I would rather leave room for that whilst we're undertaking this process. But at this juncture, I will not be able to support. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. I think it is very clear that the committee is not in support of a tariff increase that exceeds the cost of supply study, particularly with regards to some of the inefficient operational issues that were presented before us. So it must be recorded properly because there were inefficient operational concerns that were presented before us in terms of this municipality. So we can't therefore encourage that this municipality be compensated more than what the cost of supply says. And especially because there is evidence that is presented before us today in terms of the operational inefficiencies. Now, this municipality will have to address the things that it has stated as concerns, first to the energy regulator. So the tariff that will therefore be approved will be the tariff of 9%, which is exactly what is the outcome of the cost of supply studies. If we approve something that is outside of that, then it will cause the energy regulator to deviate from what Section 15 requires of us. And also, we are not sure whether customers have seen this and what their concerns are. So with those grounds, Mr. Mathebula and Mr. Sichotlo, the committee is not happy to approve. So with the calculations that are on the actual tariffs, I think they will need some adjustments, and therefore we won't be able to now get into the issue of the adjustments in this meeting. So there will need to be adjustments there to reflect the tariff that will translate to 9%, which is the outcome. So it means this municipalities, the calculations for this municipality must go back, members, if I may, because we can't just take, that 9% without seeing the blocks themselves, what it translates into in terms of the tariff blocks that are supposed to be calculated. So it means it must be taken back and be brought with the batch that will be considered on 9 June. Let me give Mr. Mathebula. Mr. Mathebula.
Chair, it's noted. Actually, I was writing on the notes here. We will revisit the application and make a revised proposal to the committee.
Thank you very much, members. Just to show the support that this one be withdrawn so that it reflects the discussions and the views of the members, and then the tables or the actual tariffs be revised in terms of the calculation so that they reflect exactly what is in the cost of supply, the outcome of the cost of supply. Are you happy with that, members? Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. So this application is not approved, it's taken back so that the team can do adjustments in the calculation to align properly with the cost of supply outcome. Thank you. We go to the next one, Mr. Sichotlo.
It's the same presenter, Chair, under Knysna.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, Knysna Municipality are proposing an average tariff increase of 13.83%. Their application underwent a public consultation process for comments by the 1st of June 2025, and no comments were received. The municipality's financial position is showing a notable improvement, with the operating surplus increasing from 2.5% to 6.2%. The upward trend indicates enhanced operational efficiencies and financial performance within the electricity division. In terms of its energy losses, they have increased slightly from 12% to 13.6% from the previous year. While this level is approaching the threshold of unacceptable levels, it remains manageable. In this regard, the licensee is encouraged to take active steps to reduce losses and maintain their losses within acceptable limits. Again, Chairperson, due to the losses that are beyond 12%, which is a threshold according to the cost of supply methodology, an in-depth energy loss and revenue impact analysis was conducted to assess the financial impact of these varying energy loss levels. The detailed analysis is provided in section 2.3 on page 245 of 366. And table 3 on the page shows shows us that under the current scenario of actual 13.6% losses, the licensee realizes a net profit of 28 million rands. Whereas if losses were to reduce to 12%, the net profit would increase significantly by an additional 4.7 million rands. This would boost the surplus level to 7%. In terms of the municipalities' cost of supply study, they have submitted theirs in April 2025. The study is compliant with the NERSA's approved cost of supply methodology and forms the basis for the 2025-26 tariff review process. The study follows the 5 steps model, which entails revenue requirement, cost functionalization, classification, allocation, and rate design. When assessed against each other, all the steps aligned and there were no mismatches, and all actual costs have been verified against deforms and trial balance. The cost of supply study outcome supports a 14.6% increase, but the municipality has opted to go for an average increase of 13.8%. In an effort to balance its sustainability with affordability. We therefore, Chairperson, recommend approval of tariffs based on 13.8%. And we recommend as follows, that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report that is submitted by the municipality. The tariffs as informed by the cost of supply report be approved and as recommended in the tariff analysis for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st of July 2025. All the cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures. The municipality is required to further submit a report accounting for all cost inputs into its cost of supply report that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. I will end it there, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Potter. Ms. Matebula and Mr. Sichotlo, I'm hoping that with the other tariffs as well, the level of scrutiny and details and clarifying these things in simplest form so that it gets to the level at which members can understand. I'm hoping that you will make some improvements and enhancements in the way that these matters are adjusted. I think we also have to touch on these issues that Ms. Potter is mentioning, because they are very clear and they also show thorough analysis and understanding when you're dealing with the particular municipality, and they're presented with confidence, and that's what the members would appreciate. But members, the submission is before you for comment. Okay, if no comment, Mr. Mkhize.
Thanks, Chairperson. I'm just a bit confused here by figure 4. You can just assist me just to understand. Because we've got an average increase in rates, you say it's 14.6%. Then you say average increase in rates to reach overall cost reflectivity is 19.4. Shouldn't that in this 19.4 match with what the cost of supply study then recommends? Because that seeks to then reach full cost reflectivity. I'm not so sure if figure 4 and paragraph 6.7.2, as well as the recommendation itself, are matching. Can someone help me there? Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Ms. Potter, will you please simplify and clarify for the member?
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. So figure 4, it basically tells us that in terms of the full cost reflectivity, in order for the municipality to reach full cost reflectivity, they would need to improve to increase their tariffs by 19.4%. But at a tariff level, they would need to increase by 14.6. As you can see in that figure, that there is a section that says business as usual, which is the business as usual revenue that could be collected. And then if you move on to the next column, which is the CTS net of the subsidies, that is like the difference now between the business as usual and cost reflective tariff based on the 14.6 increase at a tariff level. I'm not sure if I'm clarifying your concern, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you.
Mr. Mkhize, are you happy with the explanation? Does it clarify your issue?
Not exactly. Maybe I must take it offline, because just to be able to understand the CTS, it then says, if you're saying net of subsidies, if you remove the subsidies, this is what is going to be required. And then you then go on and have a new rate, which then fits into the 14.6. Am I understanding you correctly there? Because the net of subsidies doesn't feature here. You then have got that difference there is a difference between the new rate and the CTS net, the one net of subsidies. Just want to be sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any one who can, I think Ms. Botha, you can still clarify. I will see if sometimes it's a matter of phrasing it properly. If you can try to do that. Otherwise, I'll also ask for support, maybe from the HOD or Mr. Matebul.
I think maybe it's a matter of articulation, Chairperson, but basically that is what it is, as Mr. Mkhize has pointed out. Thank you.
Okay, so I think then you will just improve the articulation so that it is clear, even if it is not Mr. Mkhize, but somebody else who will be the recipient of this document.
I'll do that. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, right. With that, then, members, we are on the recommendations. They were read out already by Ms. Botha. Members, I would like to see if you have you support the application and also the enhancement that was pointed out by Mr. Mkhize. By show of hands, members, if you support the recommendations. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I support. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you very much, members. Shall we move now to the next application, please?
We have Mthunzaneni, Chairperson by Avasera Moholo.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members once again. Mthunzaneni municipality is situated in the KwaZulu-Natal province, and it was published on NESA website for public comments, and we didn't receive any comments from the stakeholders. And the municipality has been, the energy losses has been trending between 9.6 and 950. And unfortunately, we had a deficit of 5.97 from 3% surplus. And the municipality submitted a new COS for 25-26 tariff purpose, which was assessed and verified. And we found out that the COS is in compliance with the NESA COS framework, where they've got the cost fractionalization, classification, and allocation and rate design. And then we found out that the results of the study said that the cost should be increased by 39 0.9 percentage, but the municipality, in order to protect its customers, chose to implement an average of around 14.4 percentage, which was applied to various tariff, and although other tariff had a slight difference increase. And we like to recommend that the tariff being increased as per the municipality's approval. And then the other recommendation also apply to say all the cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to independent audit and maybe claw back upon receipt and validation and verification of the audited financial figures. And also the municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted and to enable the regulator to perform its independent audit. That's all, Chair. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Members, any comments? By show of hands, members? Anything that will cause us to change it? Mr. Mkhize? Mr. Mkhize, you may go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chairperson. Sorry, I was talking on a muted mic. I just wanted to say that whilst it's not going to change this decision, I think, and at the same time, I must be cognizant of the difficulty in terms of doing some of the analysis, and therefore not necessarily demand of the team to do it now or require the team to do it now, but to kind of nudge them towards that. In terms of consideration, looking across the municipalities, because there is nothing that could be misleading as a percentage. Whenever you're dealing with a percentage, it could be very deceiving because it depends on the base from which you are moving. Some percentages look small when they're actually, in terms of the quantum, high. And therefore, I would also say to the team, yes, we're dealing with percentages now, but please, as part of the continuous improvement, look at the issue of the quantum or the quanta that you are actually dealing with. But I do support this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Tim, you've got that issue from Mr. Mkhize for continuous improvement and enhancement. If you can please note that so that with the batches that are coming, at least some of those things have been taken on board, please. With that, members, by show of hands, if you are in support of the recommendations that were read out earlier. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you. I support. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. We're moving on then, members, to the next application. I'm targeting 5 o'clock as the time that the meeting has been scheduled to. Mr. Sithole.
Nala from Rangaralufe, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson, and everyone in the meeting. Good afternoon. I'll be presenting Nala local municipality, which is situated in the Free State, and then with which is supplying 95% of its sales to domestic customers, and the population is seated at 78,000 plus 500. So, Chairperson, Nala is Nala's financial performance is not good. It's not looking good. Actually, the deficit has increased from 52.38% to 67.71%, with also energy losses that have increased from 19.51 to 29.34%. And this is causing them to lose more revenue, which can be amounted to 51.5 million. Chairperson,
NALA has tabled or rather applied for a tariff increase at the National Energy Regulator. And then the consultation process was done. We didn't receive any comment from the stakeholders. And we have processed and analyzed their cost of supply report and also the tool. The cost of supply was found to be compliant with the NESA framework, the cost of supply framework at NESA. And then the results of the cost of supply, Chairperson, has actually reflected an increase of 24%, but the municipality or NALA local municipality have tabled a 12.7% increase. And then through the engagement, they indicated that 24% will be too high, especially for domestic customers, since 96% of their sales, or rather 95% of their sales, is going to the domestic customers. So 12.7% was found to be an ideal tariff increase. So by that, Chairperson, we allowed we recommend for allowing the 12.7% as a tariff increase, and we also recommend that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by NALA local municipality, and also that the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation with effect from 1 July 2025. And the municipality, we recommend that the municipality must submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in the COS study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit process. And lastly, we recommend that the municipality must submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply based on customers as well as on the licensee sustainability and local economy, and the date which the report is to be submitted be included in the correspondence to the municipality or licensee. I table, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. Any input? Any key issue that might affect the decision that is sought, Mr. Mkhize?
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks, Mr. Ravelan. Just like to check here. This 6.9.2, can you just clarify a little bit around the issue of adjustment on the basis of the inefficiencies on the ESCOM debt interest, to then switch to the 12.7? Just want to get clarity. Just can clarify the logic and around behind that, because it is key.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, for the question. Please provide a response, Mr. Swanga.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. It was not okay. We have done adjustment based on the NMD and the interest, ESCOM debt interest. However, it was still less than what the municipality have tabled as a 12.7% tariff increase. It had no differences. It has no difference despite the adjustment of such. Hence, we went for a 12.7%, which was reasonable enough for affordability as well as for the licensee sustainability. Thank you.
Mr. Mkhize, are you covered with the response?
I'm not so clear, honestly. I don't.
Okay, let me ask another team member, Mr. Mkhize, to come in here. We've got Mr. Sichotlo and Mr. Matebula. Please, can you clarify the the essence of the question asked by the member?
Yeah, Chairperson, on the part of the interest, if I can try that one. On the part of the interest, Chairperson, we say that if the interest is beyond certain number of days, then we are saying that the municipality cannot want to pass that interest to its customers because they must actually pay their bills on time so that they don't pass it to those customers that are actually paying. So that is that one. And then on the NMD, we are also saying that the municipality must actually notify at the level that they will actually be able to recover, and they must not exceed that NMD. Should they exceed it, they cannot pass it through to their customers. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Charles, do you have any input here? Because you have assisted with the analysis of some of these and the risk that we are facing. May you please come in here, Charles?
Thank you, Chair. I have nothing to add. I haven't specifically looked at this municipality, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Some of the issue that Mr. Sichotlo is raising, it's exactly what I was talking about earlier on to say, you know, when you're looking at these cost of supply studies, you don't only look at the compliance with the framework in general, just the steps that are in the framework for compliance purposes, that how did they go about it? But you need to look into what is contained in it. When you look at the cost that are involved there, you will see in some of the tables that they will then put these things to say other expenses. You don't even know those other expenses, and the amounts that are put in there are quite significant. And sometimes there's not even a footnote to indicate as to what are these other expenses, because that cost, it goes to the tariff. The other thing that we discussed with the team is this very issue of municipalities owing Eskom, because there are these NMD penalties that are included. Then you also get the interest on the debt. That on its own is something that should be avoided, because now it means they will recover it from the tariff. Is that something that you want to have? Hence, I was saying that there's also that level of detail in terms of scrutinizing the cost of supply studies, irrespective of what they are putting before us. So those things about the expenses, the expenditures, which is what Ms. Botha was, delving into and explaining it in a simple way, what is happening. Those are the kind of things, and then the interest must not be passed on and so forth. So in this case, what do we do? Because in certain instances, those things have not been scrutinized and we have approved the tariff. So what are we going to do now? Are we taking a principled decision that says that municipalities that have been punished, irrespective of the fact that maybe the demand went up, and that also benefited the customers in the area of supply of that municipality, and therefore the municipality must not get the municipality must not recover the cost that the penalty that has been imposed by Eskom, because they have exceeded their demand. And by exceeding their demand, remember that it means they have supplied to its customers. So what are we actually saying? And then you look on the issue of interest. What are we saying? So, Mr. Sichotlo, you must also guide us. So these things, we must be very specific and be consistent, because in other municipalities here, there was no issue, because that's why the presentation, the introduction is not consistent. Now with others, the issue of interest interest on Eskom's debt was never dealt with. Hence, I was also talking about deduplication, because you give them this amount, and then there are also other things that customers were not supposed to pay for. That's the thing that I was guiding on to say that let us first look at the cost drivers. Let us look at all of these things that are included in here, so that where we believe that these things should not be cost that we allow in the tariffs, because they are not contributing into ensuring that the municipality or a distributor is operating efficiently. And let's not attract costs that show that the municipality ought to have dealt with these things in a different way. Charles, before I go to the members.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to point out that this municipality has a very, very high losses, and because it's most likely due to illegal connections, and if you have illegal connections, people don't care how much they consume, and that's probably the main driving force behind the notified maximum demand exceedance. And to allow them those costs would mean that the other customers who are paying would be subsidizing those who are not paying. Chair, that's my contribution.
Thank you, Charles. Anything to add there, Mr. Sichotlo, for the benefit of the members with regards to illegal connections and other things?
I think what Charles is saying is actually augmenting what I was saying. And where there is such, it might not have been clear in the others because it's not so big. But in general, when there is any exceedance that could have been controlled by the municipality. I remember there was a meeting that we held with one of the mayors. I won't mention the name. They could actually demonstrate that this exceedance is actually also caused from the ESCOM side. In case, we will then not punish the municipality because it is not them but ESCOM. But if it was from their own side and they did not really do the proper notification, then obviously they cannot pass it through to their customers. In the very same way as I was saying, Chairperson, that if we're not saying that we are not going to allow any interest on debt, but we are saying that if you pay your debts on time, this is interest on overdue debts, not just interest on debt, but on overdue debts. It is interest on interest. Therefore, we cannot just be giving it to the other customers who actually are on time paying for their bills. That is the principle that we have taken. Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Sichotlo. Mr. Mkhize.
Yeah, I think it's important. Thanks. First of all, thanks for the responses. But it talks to the issue of augmenting that paragraph. You know, being able to give one more clarity and explanation to say how you got to the 12.74, which is the aligned with the average one that ESCOM is also going to be increasing by. Because this issue of these debts, the outstanding debts and interest upon interest is something that should be cutting across. Something that we've also said that it then punishes those who are paying. And I take it that it's applicable throughout, but it's just that here it is a kind of more pronounced. And therefore to be able to indicate that there are these other costs that have been included that shouldn't be. And it should also be clear that when bringing something here at a technical level, there's been an engagement with that municipality. Because the way it is written here, it gives an impression that there was this decision now is taken without feeding back to the municipality to say we're not happy about 1, 2, 3, 4, and we think that we need to be settling at this level. Unlike the others where we dealt with, where even the municipality is the one that is proposing reducing it for the sake of it's a residence. So I think we need to be able to at least augment that to make it clear to anyone, because these documents must be able to speak for you in your absence. Thank you.
So you will enhance that, but it seems that there is no there is nothing that is changing the recommendation that is made, but what is required is the enhancement that will strengthen the decision that is required. I hope that the team will be able to do that. With that, members, can you please raise your hands to show support of the application? Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. I also support. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. May we go to the next application, please?
Next colleagues, please jump in. I'm on the wrong page because I was actually looking at the table that Mr. Mkiza was talking about.
Thank you, Chair. The next application is Oates Warren, which is based in the Eastern Cape. When we look at the financial and technical indicators, Oates Warren is performing at a surplus level of 9.48% and energy losses at 6.93%. Chair, the application was received on 16 April and was published on the 2nd of May, and no comments were received from stakeholders. The cost of supply, Chair, was submitted to NERSA, and it has complied with the 5 steps which align when compared to each other, and they align with the approved NERSA COS framework. Chairperson, the result of the cost of supply indicated that the municipality should increase its tariffs by 22.50 to reach cost reflectivity. However, the municipality took into account the affordability of its customers and wants to protect its customers from high energy increases, and indicated that it will be applying for a percentage increase of 13%, and that the cost of supply results will be phased in 2 years. The municipality also indicated that it will be sustainable with the increases it has applied for, and all costs were verified against the actuals and deforms and the trial balance there, Chair. And it is recommended that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended for implementation from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. The municipality should submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification process, and the municipality should submit audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply tariffs on customers, as well as on the licensee's sustainability and local economy by 30 September 2025. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any comments that will affect the decision that is sought? Mr. Mkize?
Yeah, no, I would support that in line with how we've been dealing with the matter up to now. But I just want to stress to the team not to abuse the fact that one wants to take decisions in the interest of bringing certainty and doing things timelessly. But again, this whole issue of just that one line that says, however, to protect its customers from the current economic condition, the license is proposing a 13% tariff increase. One would still argue and say, why not propose 12? Why not? I'm saying that we want to work in a manner that is progressive. So please do attend to that and not abuse the being amenable to taking decisions promptly. Thank you.
Mr. Mkize, please, if you can kindly take note of that. See the thumbs up. That point, Mr. Mkize, will be considered. With that, then, members, are you happy to approve the recommendations that are before us in terms of Oates Warren? Oates Warren is in the Western Cape. After the demarcations, it's not in the Eastern Cape. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. The Oudtshoorn application is approved. Shall we now go to Saldanha Bay Municipality? Ms. Mabinya?
Thank you, Chairperson. Saldanha Bay is in the Western Cape. The application is based on a cost of supply study. The performance of the municipality has been stable, with acceptable levels of a 6.33 surplus and a 9.07 energy losses. NERSA has complied with the statutory requirements regarding the public participation process, and no objections were received from the stakeholders. The COS that has been submitted by the municipality has been assessed against the NERSA approved framework for any mismatches, and it has met the criteria of this cost of supply steps, ranging from the rate of return to the rate design. The costs that are in the cost of supply were also verified against the applicable DFORMs and financial statements. The cost of supply results suggest a 11.77 increase to reach cost reflectivity, and the municipality is also applying for 11.77 increase as recommended by the results of the cost of supply study. The municipality is not introducing any new tariff, nor it is restructuring its tariff that it has proposed. And we therefore make recommendations, Chairperson, that the committee notes the submitted cost of supply by the municipality, that the tariffs that are based on this cost of supply report be approved as recommended for implementation by the municipality effective 1 July 2025, and that all the costs submitted by this municipality be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verifications of the audited financial statements. The municipality is to submit a report accounting for all these costs that have been noted to allow the regulator to do its independent verification audit. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mabinya, for that. Members, any specific comments or enhancement to strengthen the decision that is sought? If none, members, I would like members to then raise your hands to support the application for approval. Oh, is this for questions? For questions, ma'am?
Yes,
Is it for questions?
For clarity.
Okay, let me start with Mayor or Mr. Mkhize. I think he was approving. Okay. Advocate Sithole, please go ahead.
Chair, just for clarity on energy losses, we are saying they are same as the previous financial year, but we're saying the figures for technical and non-technical losses could not be quantified. What does that mean in relation to us saying that the losses for the 2-year period of 2022-23 and 22-23 and 23-24 are the same? Can I get a clarity on that, Chairperson, so that I can understand under that item on energy losses? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Mabinya, please clarify, noting that the information in the DFORMs we don't have for is it 2023-24 and 2024-25. Now we are in 25-26. Can you please clarify what you mean by?
Okay, no, thank you. Apologies, Chairperson. The energy losses for 22-23 were 11.48, and for 23-24 were 9.07. I think that it was a typo when I said they remain the same. They have actually improved from the previous year to this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Advocate Sithole, are you covered? Because there's no data
Yes.
for 2024-25. Okay, thank you so
Yes,
much.
I'm covered,
With
Chair.
that, then, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. With that, then, can I, members, may you please raise your hands just to show that you are approving the tariff as recommended. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support. Members, we are on the very last application before us, which is West Rand Power Distributor. Ms. Sikwadi.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, members and colleagues. West Rand Private Distributors is applying for an average increase of 12.7% for the 25-26 financial year. The licensee is also facing financial challenges despite some improvement on their financial due to the significant legal dispute with Eskom. The dispute between Eskom and the distributor is that it's Eskom allegedly undercharging West Rand Power Distributors over 26 million, dating back to 2013 to 2017 financial year. The dispute is still ongoing with the next court date scheduled for August 2025, hoping that this will be finalized soon for the licensee to run smoothly. Eskom. The licensee also further requests that to request the change on its annual new rate implementation, as it is a private distributor. The current implementation date is 1st of July each year. So the licensee is requesting that they implement its tariffs from 1st of April because Eskom also implements the new rates on their accounts with effect from 1st of April every year. The licensee submitted the cost of supply study, which was assessed to determine if it meets all the requirements of the approved COS framework. And NERSA worked closely with the licensee, and all costs provided by licensee have been verified against the deformed trial balance and audited financial statement. Furthermore, the costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. The COS study recommends an average after all the inefficiency have removed. The COS recommend an average increase of 18.5% for the licensee to reach the cost full cost reflectivity. But licensee is proposing an average increase of 12.7% instead of 18.5% to shield its customers from the high increases. The licensee is also not proposing any structural changes. This is a private distributor and is in all mining area, and then there are no indigent customers. The licensee and NERSA have also complied with the legislative requirements on a public consultation process, and there were no comments received. Recommendations are on page 366, and they read as follows. The energy regulator knows the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator also approved the tariff that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis for the implementation from the effect of the approval of the tariff by NERSA. The licensee also indicated that they are not going to implement the clawback on its customers for this financial year. So the municipality to submit the report accounting for all the costs that have been noted, trial balance, to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audits. Also, the recommendation of all the cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to the independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt of verification of audited financial figures by the energy regulator. The recommendation will be added as it was not added on the submitted application, so it will be added. And then also taking into account all the recommendations, comments raised, and guidance from the members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kwati. Members, any comments on this application? A show of hands, members, if you do have comments on the actual tariffs and the decision sought. Members, the recommendations have been read out. May you please indicate by raising your hand that you are in support of the recommendations to approve this tariff and all of the other items in the recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you, members. Members, we have come to the end of the matters that were before us today, but there are two municipalities that we could not consider today on the annexure that we had. It is Senqu. Is it Senqu? Yes, Senqu municipality, because that municipality requested that it revisit the the percentage of increase that it has requested, of which it was not in line with the resolution of the council, the municipal council. And the second one that we couldn't consider today is what number is it?
David Kuyper. David Kuyper is
oh yes,
Madam.
David Kuyper municipality. Yes, those are the two that we could not consider today, and I'm hoping that the matters will be clarified so that they form part of the next batch of applications that we will consider next week. With that, then I would like to thank the members of the public that were following today's discussion. At this point in time, we'd like to close the open part of the meeting so that we can be able to deal with governance matters. Thank you very much.